Beans and Dice podcast, a podcast about how we game.
No, you're listening to Mrs. Oben. Welcome to the Beans and Dice podcast, Thursday night live call-in show. Hit him with the horn, Rob.
Wah.
I'm Carlos.
I'm Rob.
I'm Mike.
And I'm Wayne.
And we are a podcast about how we game. On Thursday nights, we take your phone calls to hear about how you game. So let me open up that phone line. Rob, you tell them what we're doing tonight.
Yeah, Thursday night call-in show. So as always, we want to hear about what you have been up to. We will sit and chat amongst ourselves if we have to, but that's not what we're here for tonight. We like to do that on our Sunday podcast. We'll be dropping another audio podcast this Sunday. But on Thursday nights, it's all about you, about the caller. Call in. The line is open, 813-618-7099. We have the one line, so if you call and it's busy, just wait till somebody's done talking and then jump in afterwards. But we want to hear from you.
You always got to call me out on one line.
Well, yeah, exactly. So what have you been playing? What have you been doing? Industry news, anything you want to talk about? Doesn't have to just be board gaming. We've been delving deep into some geeky goodness with TV shows and all kinds of good stuff recently. But call in. Tell us what you've been up to.
Yep. If you don't like what we're talking about, call in, change the topic. Simple as that.
All in your hands. Absolutely.
It's like Wayne. He didn't like what we were doing. So I'm just going to show up and we're going to do it different. So Wayne showed up and melded in.
Something like that.
And then Mike's been with us from the get-go. So it's like founding member.
Old timer. There you go.
One mic, one game. Now it's one mic, two game.
Two shows.
I have to get that. I have to get that name down. I'm starting to get them all in there. One mic, three games. Going down the list.
You multiplying.
It's gonna tell YouTube every time to change your name.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Probably write a program for that or something.
It's for the people.
Yeah,
Game wise, Mike, you traveled the farthest. So you came the farthest to get on the show. Drove all the way from Washington State,
Seattle.
Yeah, buddy.
Back to Florida.
Back to Florida, my home state, and went to the Saturday game day this month. And who wasn't there?
Everybody.
The Beans and Dice.
Yeah.
There was no bean nor dice to be found anywhere.
Yeah.
Nope. And I was hoping you guys would show up. But anyway, as far as games played, the one that I was happy the most to get to the table, because I'd set it up a couple of times and never got it played, was Unsettled.
Oh, nice.
So Dan and I actually got a game of that in. Like I said, I've had it on the table a couple of times, and I wasn't really sure if I was getting the rules right, because it just didn't, I don't know, something wasn't clicking for me. But we played the Winora, the first puzzle or, scenario or whatever you want to call it. Man, I really like that game.
It is good.
I know you like it too, Rob. So
yeah, I like it a lot. So
yeah,
Dan and I and William were playing through. We played through the whole first box, and then we played through the first scenario in the second box, and we keep talking about we got to get that back to the table. So it's good.
Does it? How much does it really change though? Like going, like as far as like the first box, is there a lot of different mechanics, or are they like
it's a lot
similar?
the same. Yeah. So each one of those boxes comes with its own set of little chits and little, things that you're going to discover. So you obviously don't find everything in the first playthrough. They change kind of the mechanics and what you're doing very slightly. But a lot of it is the same because it's kind of based on the planet that you're on. Each box is a separate planet, and the planet has different characteristics, different things that it does. If I remember, was the first one it was lots of vegetation, or was that? Do you remember? If it wasn't, then that's
I think it was the sticky icky one where you had like the.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, you're gonna run into that. Then I think the second one we played is an arid planet, and they have changed the mechanics quite a bit. We were pretty blown away when we moved to the second planet of how different it was. And so they do some clever things in that first one. I think it's 3 scenarios. They did some clever things, changing some things up and kind of changing your objectives. It was either 3 or 4. I can't remember how many's in each box, little scenarios. But when we opened that second box, it was kind of like, wow, okay, this is cool. They've done a completely different thing here. So yeah, it's good.
Well, I've got all the planets from the first Kickstarter, and I went in on the second Kickstarter all in, to get all the other planets. So I'm excited to finally break into the other planets and get those played as well.
Yeah, that's cool. I know Dan got all those too, so we're talking about how we need to get going because all that new stuff's going to come out, and it's going to be just sitting there staring at us. So we got to get moving on that. But yeah, that's one we got to get back to the table and play again. But it's fun, that system and the game trays, inserts, the way that packs up and unpacks, and it's a lot of components really. But it sets up pretty quick because of the way it's organized and the way those game trays are made.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to get around in at your turn, Con, if you're going.
Yeah, I'll be there. Yeah, let's do that. We'll definitely play. Yeah, cool.
Now, this one came up in my mind because of a conversation I had with the Ant Lab folks. I've been jumping in on their panels lately, and Anthony and Francis both were talking, gushing about ISS Vanguard.
Oh yeah.
I watched their video on that. Yeah.
And every time they described it, all I can think of was how y'all described Unsettled. It just felt like similar in theme and idea. You're visiting, different planets. You're going through some story, but it seemed like ISS Vanguard was a much deeper, crunchy thing.
People have been calling that what Gloomhaven in space. So I mean, it's a big epic tale. It's hours and hours and hours. The nice thing about Unsettled is it's broken down like into each of those scenarios. Even though again, one box is one planet. Each of the scenarios I think plays in about maybe 3 or 4 hours. It's been our experience. We played it 3-player, and so it's definitely more chunks. I would assume ISS Vanguard, if it's like Gloomhaven, you've got real smaller, little 1 to 2 hour plays probably, but that when you're going into a story that's 100+ hours, kind of like Gloomhaven is.
And so Unsettled isn't like a continuation. You play like each planet as a standalone game or standalone, kind of like Mansions of Madness versus Gloomhaven type thing.
Yeah,
that's a good comparison. Yep.
Okay, that seems interesting. That would interest me more in Unsettled than ISS Vanguard then, because playing a big couple 100-hour game, there's just not but if I can go and do a planet, a mission, and try it, and then move on to the next one when I can, it seems like it's kind of hard to do some of these big campaign games, man. 3.33 weight too. That's heavy.
It sounded really crunchy. We're talking about having to hire people, station them in different positions on the ship. You're doing so much management in the way they described it that I'm with Wayne. I'd be more apt to do an Unsettled setup where you're not locked in to a giant campaign.
I think it's all depending on what kind of games you like. I go both ways. I kind of like the one-offs, and then the more I think about it, I think I like the idea of large campaign games, yet I've never really gotten into one long enough to
see what I'm saying?
Get past a few scenarios. But I will say now that I think I'm going to have the ability to do it more with a couple of the people that I've met over in Seattle, where they're like 100%, let's just meet up every couple of weeks. We're just going to make it a thing, and we're going to get through this. So we're planning on doing that with Oathsworn. That's our next game.
Don't tease me with that one too. That's another one that I'm jealous. I got to find somebody with a copy that I haven't found anybody yet locally with a copy of Oathsworn. But man, I want to play that.
Didn't Dan pack it?
Did he? If he has, I haven't seen it yet. So I'll check it out.
I thought I think I saw it up on his premier shelves or whatever.
All right, I'll look for it then.
So.
Well,
that would mean Rob has to pay for a subscription to something. It goes against his.
I'm not paying for a subscription to anything. Number one, but number two, that's way out of my reach. Those shelves are really high. I'm a little guy.
Well, it's interesting. I just looked up the Gloomhaven just because I'm like, what's the weight? And BGG has Gloomhaven's weight at 3.89. I can't. I wonder if it's because it's the campaign maybe that they weight it so heavy, but like
to do well in Gloomhaven, I would say yes.
What did they weigh Jaws of the Lion at?
That better be a lot lower.
It should be lower, but I mean, once you know how to play that, you should be able to play Gloomhaven.
Yeah, Gloomhaven in the
3.62.
There you go. So not that much lower.
Wow.
Yeah, not that much lower. And I don't know. I mean, I don't know. That's pretty heavy. I mean, I think the campaign element probably adds to it, but like because I looked at ISS Vanguard and it was a 3.33. I'm like, wow, that's really heavy for a campaign game. And then I was like, well, what's Gloomhaven? And they have a Gloomhaven rated even higher than that. Granted, I've only played like little more than half of Jaws of the Lion, and I've not played the base Gloomhaven, but I can't imagine base Gloomhaven being that much more complex than Jaws of the Lion.
It's not.
And I don't see it as that complex a game. I mean, you read the cards, got the rules in the cards. It's not, I think the hardest part about Gloomhaven is finding what tile you need to lay down next. Right?
Yeah, I think the strategy with the initiatives and the bad guys and the some of the randomness and stuff makes it difficult. It's a big puzzle that you're trying to find out the solution to different ways for different scenarios that you're playing through. So I can see it being a little on the heavy side there. But,
I wonder if my background in D&D and playing D&D and being a GM helps with that, because you're when you play D&D, especially if you're the GM, you got to run all the bad guys, you got to do all the initiatives and spells and stuff like that. So that's probably why. I wonder if people
Plus you're a programmer.
Yeah,
there you go.
A little bit. But I wonder if people who have done a lot of role play games where you're keeping track of all those crazy stats would find Gloomhaven easier than just a board gamer. I don't know. Interesting. Crazy.
I got a comment I see in the chat. Rich said, hey, Rob just paid for a BGA premium membership subscription. I did not. You are correct, Carlos. I did not. You actually get points for playing games and winning games. And if you get 100 points, you can cash in for a 1-month subscription for free. And so I had a couple hundred points in there, so I cashed in for a free subscription for a month. So you are correct.
I knew you better than that. That don't sound like Rob.
Absolutely. And that month is now expired.
No, I did it 1 month and it expired, and then I just got up to another 100 points, and so I just cashed in a couple days ago. So that's what Rich is talking about.
If it isn't a board game or Taco Bell, he ain't paying for it.
Yeah, there you go. You got to have priorities. Yeah.
Let's see how many unspent points I have right now.
Oh yeah, it's good stuff. Good stuff. But yeah, I just did it. Rich sent me a little what when I did it, so I didn't have the heart to break it to him that it was a freebie. But yeah, I'll take them. All right, everybody, call in 813-618-7099. Time to light up that line. We got to put Carlos to work here, screening phone calls. So call in. Tell us what you want to talk about, what you've been up to, what you've been playing. Yeah, we did embarrassing. We did miss the game day. I was actually rebuilding some fence from the hurricane. Speaking of hurricane stuff, that I don't know if we really talked about it, but the reason Mike's in town is he's doing some cat work for the insurance company down here in Florida. So that's why he's here for a little while. Meow, 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 meow. But so the
cat as in catastrophe for the folks that don't know the lingo.
Cat
the lingo.
Work, yeah, for insurance, cat work. Yeah, catastrophe. But we had our second Saturday game day. It kind of snuck up on us. Both Carlos and I didn't realize until about a day or two before. I was like, holy crap, it is the second Saturday coming up.
No, don't even go there.
Yeah,
don't even go there, because I reminded Carlos.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, Mike, I'll see you there. We'll talk cat work. We'll, and then like the next day, he's like, where are you at? And like, oh crap, I had forgotten it was homecoming day. Like I was getting the kid ready, last minute errands, picking up corsages,
and homecoming that night. Yeah, me and my wife actually chaperoned the high school homecoming.
I was watching Rob's kid, some babysitting, so he can go do that.
Yeah, exactly. So I have not missed a game day probably in about 3 or 4 months. In this this
one time I show up in literally a year from across country, and you guys don't show up. Unreal.
Chilling.
Brian Zeno says he didn't realize either. He it snuck up on him, I guess, too. So
it was because the first Saturday was the 1st of October.
Yeah.
So it really, like, that second Saturday didn't feel like a second Saturday, but I did talk, like, it was like 2 days before I was talking to Mike about being there. And then come Saturday, I'm like completely forgotten.
Yeah. Well, I had posted up that I wasn't going to be there. I knew I had a busy day scheduled that day. So anyway.
So we did miss some gaming. I have pulled some news articles. Let me pull one up here. Give us some primers to talk about till the phone line opens up. I don't know if y'all saw this on Dicebreaker. There's a Sky Team, a tense 2-player co-op about landing a plane designed with some help from Concorde pilots. Y'all seen this before?
I have not.
No.
I am interested. Like when I saw this, I saved it onto my Google News feed. Co-ops, I like them. It has to be a theme I enjoy, and there's something about reading this while on a plane that made me say, ooh, like, when I was reading through my news feeds, like, this looks interesting. This looks like fun. It's a 2-player, 20-minute co-op, work together to land a plane.
It's 2-player only?
Yes.
Okay.
But so is it serious, or is it like the movie, like Airplane? Are you like...
The blow-up autopilot?
Surely you know what I mean. I do, but don't call me Shirley.
Never call me Shirley.
Looks like I picked the wrong week to quit sniffing glue.
Exactly. That man
I speak
knows that
jive.
thing.
I speak jive.
Do this. I speak jive.
Let me stop.
We can go all night with these, man.
We can do this
At
all
some
night.
point, we would have 3/4 of the script laid out and be done.
Yeah. That's why people got to call in and change the
Yep.
subject. But
No, but I
all right.
like the you have the altimeter there, where you like the plane,
The banking, the gyro.
Gyroscope. Yeah.
So what kind of mechanics were they talking about are in this game? Like,
There's
it
dice,
looks
so I already
interesting,
don't like
but,
it.
like, what are you actually doing?
Stop crying, Rob. Let's see if it gives any more detail. There wasn't a lot of details in it. Players have limited number of rounds, representing the plane's decrease in altitude to prepare for landing, needing to successfully lower its landing gear, raise the flaps, and keep its wings level. To do so, the players will roll dice hidden behind a screen before taking turns to assign the dice to slots on the board representing various controls on the plane's panel. The players can only speak before they roll the dice, needing to react to the partner's actions. Each player has access to different sets of controls. For example, the co-pilot can radio the airport tower twice to remove planes from upcoming spaces on the approach track, which can cause an instant loss if you collide with them, while only the pilot can apply the final brakes. So it sounds like a dice rolling action placement. You're placing your dice on different actions to do things. But we can't communicate too much. We only communicate before we roll, like our intent of what we want to do. And then we hope we matched up on what we needed to do.
And it sounds like it's almost like kind of like not real time, but they want you to kind of play it fast, like you like roll and act. It's like you're like to try to generate that anxiety of trying to land a plane.
So I wonder if they throw in random disasters like pigeon flies into the turbine.
Terrorists knock out the air traffic
Knock it-
control line.
Carlos blew up the bathroom.
Emergency in the lavatory.
Never used a bathroom on a plane.
Nah, I'm interested just because of this player mat. Like the player mat to me has
Looks
got me.
cool.
I don't know about y'all. Growing up here in Tampa, I had a buddy who flew out of Vandenberg, a local airport between Robert and I. And we would fly out in little Cessnas up to Clearwater. We'd fly out to Tampa International. We go roller skating. Our boss had a roller rink in Vero Beach. We would fly out there and pick him up for the weekend. So pick him up out of Vero. So he'd let me fly the plane, all that fun stuff. This kind of brings back a lot of cool memories. The feeling of flying a little Cessna around.
Carlos flying a plane. That's a pretty scary thought there. Yeah.
All
Kept the Bible under my seat every time.
I
You don't
think
even like
you
flying.
should probably add allegedly to the front of that, Carlos. To just
Yeah.
Right. I don't know if it's illegal or not. Allegedly, I flew a plane. And that's the thing is, like, I always felt more comfortable in a small plane than I did in a big plane. I don't know why. Like, that tiny little Cessna felt way better than being in a big plane.
What?
I guess because we have more control in the Cessna.
Okay.
Don't know.
That looks interesting, though. That looks cool. That looks like a cool game. And as you said, it's 2-player, and it's like 20 minutes. You said.
Yep, 20 minutes. And I like that. A co-op game that's fast, 2-player only, kind of like Fox and Forest Duet, something light, quick. This is the one that's got me interested. I don't know if you fellas know anything about Ahoy, this lighter version of Root that I saw at, I think Gen Con was one of the first places that I heard about it. And I'm seeing more and more about it at Essen. What do y'all know about Ahoy?
Nothing.
I haven't heard of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Really? Nothing?
If it's root-like, then it must be heavy asymmetry, huh?
Yes.
Yeah. Everybody's playing different way. Everybody's doing different things, trying to win in a different way, I assume.
Yep. Smaller board, smaller tableau of what you're trying to do. Each player has a captain or a ship with asymmetric powers, different races for the different ships.
Oh,
And-
it is from Leader Games, so it's really from
Yes.
the people that did Root.
Oh, okay.
Root
There you go.
and
Root.
what's the other game?
Oh, yeah.
Very
What was that
cool.
other one they did?
The Vast Crystal Caverns.
Oh, yeah.
Fort?
Vast Crystal Castle, yeah. Fort.
Did they
yeah.
do Fort?
Yeah.
I think so. It's definitely the same artwork and style. Yeah.
Yes, they did Fort. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
But
we got to touch on real quick, just in the chat. I see Edmund's joining us from overseas. He's asking, "What is Homecoming Day?" We didn't explain, but that's I don't know. How do you describe Homecoming Day? It's a big dance for the high school.
Usually it's the first or second home game for your football team, and so they celebrate it as like the first big football game of the season that you have at home.
Kickoff. Yeah.
Big kickoff, and then it's usually it's the first homecoming game against like your big rival school.
Yeah,
and then
American football.
Yeah. Not soccer, not soccer.
Yeah.
And then like Rob said, usually there's a dance, not like a prom or something like that, but usually like a fall dance connected to homecoming. So
so it's for the high school kids and big. It's one
the
of the
cool
big,
kids.
big
I never
dances.
got invited to that stuff.
You didn't ever do homecoming? Oh.
Actually, I did with my wife. I got some stories. Good times.
Yeah.
I took her in my RX-7. Mike would be happy to hear about that RX-7.
Oh yeah, what
I took her in my 1985 GSL red
so
with the moon.
That's a first year Gen 2, man. I had one of those.
Oh, little 11A,
13B.
tiny. No, I had the 11A. I had the tiny little engine.
The 12A, yeah.
I've got on the line Ron Frazier from Hotlanta. Say hi, Ron.
Hey, everybody.
How you doing, Ron?
Hey, Ron.
Hey.
Good. Carlos screened the call and didn't even ask me what I wanted to talk about. But that's okay.
If it's Ron Frazier, I don't care anymore, as long as he's on the show.
Right, exactly.
You run with it.
I bring the good stuff. This Michael Ringo?
It is.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
What's going on, man?
I put a face to a name.
There you
That's
go.
much. Glad to finally see you. That's hilarious, by the way. So don't you live on the West Coast? Is that you?
What's that?
Seattle.
Oh,
Yeah, he's,
you
from
missed
Seattle.
that.
He's in Florida doing some catastrophe work for the insurance companies. So he's down here.
That's right. Yep. That's right. And you guys missed the opportunity to game with him in person.
Absolutely.
I caught a little bit of that.
I figure with all the cat work, going on, he'll be here for a few weeks. My birthday weekend is next weekend, doing a lot of gaming. Wesley Chapel game day is happening. So I'm going to be gaming on my birthday week. So I'm pretty sure we'll find a way to get a hold of Mike.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try.
Also, this is great. I wanted to talk about cons a little bit. Threw something up in the chat yesterday. So, I had registered for your turn con, and I'm not going to be able to make that because of family obligations. Yeah, it is what it is. I hope you guys have a great time. But the following weekend is the last MACE, which is a regional con held in Charlotte. The guy that organized it, Jeff Smith, passed away with cancer earlier this year. And so they renamed this particular MACE Jeff Con. It'll be the last MACE because they got to shut down all the organizational stuff related to it. And then it could be replaced with another convention that will be at the same place around the same time. So, but this will be my first one. And I think last year they had an attendance of approximately 400 people. And usually they get 700 to 900 from what I understand. Yeah. So that got me thinking, between that and Atlanta Game Fest, which I went to last weekend, I think I told you guys I was going to be doing that. There's about 200 or so people. And that's a 2 or 3 times yearly thing. And I'm really warming up to the vibe of these smaller cons. I mean, going to the Dice Tower Retreat, probably the singular Dice Tower Retreat in Orlando that they're going to hold. That was capped at 250. I mean, all of that stuff is just great. Like, it's just large enough to really get some quality gaming in and mingle with people, but it's not so large to get lost in the shuffle. Even Dice Tower East, which I really love. What is it? I think Tom said it was about 1,800 in attendance, which is nice. And I don't know about going to these big cons like Gen Con or Origins and what have you. Just because, they're just too crowded, particularly Gen Con and Dragon Con. Dragon Con's a mess.
Oh, it's not.
But
It's a lot of people.
It's only 70 to 80,000 friends. It's fine.
Yeah.
only. And
But,
the thing about Dragon.
I was gonna say, Ron, you hit the nail on the head.
thing about Dragon. Yeah.
Sorry. I was gonna say you hit the nail on the head. I think in your comment, because you hit it right. I mean, I've been to Gen Con a few times. I've been to Dragon Con 20 times, 22 times. I don't try to game at those big cons. They're massive. The dealer rooms are huge. There's so much to do at those cons that they're not my gaming cons. I don't game at those conventions anymore. I just go have fun. This cosplay and the panels and the parties and stuff at Gen Con, Dragon Con. But you look at the smaller cons, under 2,000 people for the board gaming, for the gaming weekends. Yeah.
So let me ask you this: are you going to play the games that you know, or are you going to play new games that you've never played before? Like, what do you prefer when you go to cons?
So I like a mix of both. I feel like if I don't get a play of a game that I've never played before, then it's a wasted opportunity. You guys also know I'm a big role player. That goes the same for role playing games. I want to be able to try something new at least once on that standpoint. For board games, I want to do a little bit more than just one new game, the entire time. But the thing is that, I do want to play new stuff, but like at Atlanta Game Fest, it just made it easier for me to get into a game that I knew. Like, I played Elder Scrolls 3rd Edition. It had been a long time since I had played it, but I had played it in the past, and so the familiarity did help out. And I played Dice Throne, and I've taught Atlantis Rising. It was nice to have those familiar games too. So, but the thing is that I got to play with new people, so that was awesome.
Yeah. No, that's good. Yeah, I kind of like a mix of both myself, but it always tends to veer me in the direction of games I already know, because I feel like I can get more in, but I do like learning more games as well.
Yep. Yeah, I played last weekend. I played Space Base for the first time in person. I've only played it on BGA up to that point, and so that was my new experience. I'm trying to think I played a little Polyominoes game called Pickle Dominoes or something like that. That was technically new, but.
See, and that's and I guess that's where I differ. Rob and I differ on this one when we go to cons and what we're seeking out of a con. Rob is always, I feel, seeking new experiences, new games, learn something, play something. And then I feel like when I follow Rob on that, I might have a day that's a dud, where the majority of what I learned, it was like when we played Vikings Gone Wild and Virus and a whole bunch of other games one time. And at the end of the day, I'm like, man, I played a bunch of games that just sucked. They were like, okay.
Oh,
like what a waste of a day. Like, I don't know if I want to risk that anymore.
I'm glad I had those experiences. Those are games that I wanted to play. I came in and it's like, hey, these are some games I want to check off my list. So now you know if you like them or you don't like them. But yeah,
true.
That's why you got to play. You got to play game you know, new game. Game you know, a new game.
Yeah.
So there you go. Okay.
I'm more like, hey, Rob, we just played a game and we loved it. Let's play it again. And he's like, no, I want to go do something else.
Get a different experience. Yeah, Carlos will sit there and want to play the same game 2 or 3 or 4 times. I'm like, no, let's go play something else. We're here. They've got a big library. Let's go grab another game off that shelf. Yeah.
Yes,
we know this is good. We know this meal tastes good. Why are we leaving this meal to go taste something else and we don't know?
One trick pony.
Like, well, I think just have another serving.
The difference is having the library. I agree. I kind of agree with Rob. If you have a library of 2,000 games at a convention, you want to get in as many different games as possible. because you can always you find the games you like and then you buy them and you can play it 10 times at home.
Yeah, I'm seeing James's comment in YouTube, and like that's where I've landed where he lands. You play games that I don't get a chance to play enough, like War of the Ring. I was gonna set that up, but that fell through unfortunately. But that was the perfect opportunity for me to get that played, and then discover new games to find something to spend more money on. but yeah, it's a mix of the two, like, but like just to make sure I have some sort of a positive experience, I do keep a couple of games in my figurative back pocket to make sure that I want to play something. Like, long shot the dice games been that game for me the past few times, but previously it's been other games. I've actually like packed up, Sentinels of the Multiverse, had a few hero and villain environments so I could have just enough variety to travel around with. I see that. But yeah. So it's a mix, it's a mix of playing familiar games with new players. That's the big thing for me, with playing those familiar games. And then, discovering new games. So I do have to say, it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. I go to these conventions, particularly these smaller conventions, and you can very clearly tell the groups that came together. Like when I go, I'm usually by myself, and it can be hard to crack into these groups. Like, the same 3 or 4 people, they're going to hang together the entire con experience. I'm sure they're getting something out of going to a con as opposed to like, playing at the local meetup or at home or whatever. But I'm like, I guess, some people have some anxiety issues. I get that.
So
but, I kind of struggle with that.
That's where Will, not on the show obviously right now, but Will would always, you guys mentioned that Will would go off on his own sometimes.
It's because he didn't like us.
yeah.
He gets like Carlos would beat him in something, he get mad.
But I kind of like that idea of at least a period of time, go off on your own and play with new people. Because I mean, if you're only ever going to play with the same 2 or 3 people, right? Then yeah, maybe going to the convention is still fun, but you could have easily just rented a hotel room or gone to someo's house and done the same thing and just played with the same 3 people. So
it's so easy to fall into that trap.
It is though.
And we've actually, and I've actually done that.
Yeah. Oh, I have.
I think Escape WinterCon, there was like one whole day. Mike, Rob, Dan, and I, we just played games together the whole day. And at the end of the day, I'm like, wow, we could have done that at home. But we did play a variety of different games, and other people joined us and left. So like people would join the group, play with us, and leave. So that you added a new element to it. But it just was easy. It was comfortable. Right. When you're with your friends.
Right.
At least you had other people join you guys. So you had, 4 of you had maybe a 6-player game brought to me. But if you only go and just play, like, you can fall into that trap. But you definitely like, I like the idea of at least getting up and moving around and playing with different people and stuff like that.
What?
I love the flags and stuff that they're doing now. Want to learn, want to teach.
Teachers wanted.
That was really cool.
Yeah. They sound great for that. So I just want to kind of leave it on that note. Like, for anybody like watching this now or watching this later, just remember, like, you go to these conventions and there are people that are looking to play, and it might be harder for them to get into something new, but do your best to be as open and hospitable as possible, because you just don't know.
What's crazy is even with all the gaming con experiences that I've gone to, I still feel that same way. I think it's just natural when you show up in a group of strangers to feel uncomfortable. It's just natural, and it takes I think a special someone to not feel that way. But any con I go to, if Rob and I somehow split up, he ends up in a different game than I do, I feel awkward. I feel like I'm walking around, just kind of looking around, not sure who to talk to. I think it's natural for anyone.
Yeah. But, hopefully people will just be more aware of that kind of stuff.
If you see somebody with a beans and dice shirt, just stop and ask. We will find a game for you.
Right.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you, Ron.
That's all. Thanks, guys. Appreciate this conversation.
Thanks for calling, Ron. Have a good evening.
All right, see
All
ya.
right, take care.
Yeah, Ron. So kicking off a good topic. I know he posted up earlier in the week in the chats. He was mentioning how he seemed to be thinking he was leaning more towards the smaller cons, and so I'm glad he called and talked about it a little bit. But I think I agree. I kind of chimed in the chat with him that I've only been to one real big con, and that was Dragon Con, which again is not exclusively a gaming con. So I need to try.
I wouldn't call it a gaming con at all.
Yeah, not really. Yeah.
When you took me up there, that's the one thing I walked away from. Like, wow, there is an aspect of gaming, but not the kind of gaming that you and I were looking for.
No, for sure.
We were looking for like the board gaming, and there's much more of a role play gaming.
There's a huge board gaming area, but it's just not. It's not like Dice Tower. You're not going to get that feel there because there's just.
I don't think there was even people in there. Like it was just Rob and I. With an occasional, you get people who come in almost like at your turn. Like a few stragglers, they come in, they see the library, and this is my experience. My personal experience was pre-COVID.
Maybe you went to the wrong room,
but they moved it that year, didn't they, Rob?
Yeah,
to like some corner.
Weird that year. Yeah, it was. People had mentioned how they were trying to relocate it. And they moved it from one building to another, so most people didn't know it was there, and people were having trouble finding it. But
it was there was this year.
Yeah, there was a demo area that maybe had 20 or 30 people in it pretty regularly, but the gaming area, I mean, there were times it was a ghost town. There was just a handful of people in there. So, yeah.
That might have been an anomaly. I mean, the gaming area is usually packed because there's 80,000 people. So even, no matter what gaming area you have, it's going to be pretty big area. But
yeah, the year we went, I think it was only about 30,000. So it was a big down year.
Okay, that was a long time.
Yeah, it was like six years ago, maybe. Yeah. So...
But but you're right though. I mean, I think the opportunity for gaming and the opportunity to find gamers is actually better at a smaller convention. Because even like my issue with Gen Con is, there is a decent amount of open gaming, but there's a lot of gaming we got to pay to play because you got to buy tickets to be able to get into the games. And it's just so spread out. It's hard to find the things you're specifically looking for. Whereas at a smaller con, one big huge ballroom, you got the gaming library, you can see the flags, so it's more conducive to finding the games you want to play than the big cons. I barely ever board game at Gen Con or Dragon Con because it's just too big, too many.
I think Rob and I packed up our game and went back and played where we were staying. Like it was just easier to play on our own at my uncle's house.
Yeah, and we were working the con too, so after working all day, I mean, we didn't really want to hang out there if we didn't have to. So yeah, it was better to go back and have a beer and relax. But I still want to try. I want to go to Gen Con. I want to have that experience. I want to go to a PAX Unplugged sometime. So I've got to go up and hit that. There's a lot of cons that I still want to hit. So I don't know yet that I don't like big cons, but I do love the Dice Tower Retreat being just a couple hundred people.
I would. I haven't been myself, but I would recommend PAX Unplugged. That's the next one I'm doing. We have some friends that live in Seattle actually, and they've been going to PAX Unplugged the last couple of years, and they love it. And they said it is what Gen Con used to be as far as gaming.
Nice
access to gaming where Gen Con got very big. I mean, like I said, I've been to Gen Con a number of years, and it was the same thing with Dragon Con back in the day when you first started going. There's a ton of games, ton of gaming, and then it got a little bit more and doing other stuff and diversifying. So yeah, they really liked PAX Unplugged, and actually they stopped going to Gen Con and are going to PAX Unplugged instead. So that's
PAX
probably
Unplugged in Pennsylvania. That's Philadelphia.
Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Yep.
Philadelphia,
Good food, good area. So that's probably the next one on my list that I'd like to get to as far as big cons. So
yeah, maybe we'll have to plan a trip because that's definitely one I want to hit soon. Yeah.
Yep.
And
Rob,
we have friends
Dice
there.
Tower West.
Oh yeah, I want to do Dice Tower West. That's another one. Yeah. And we've talked on the show before, but that Tom has said that the East is his plan is to keep the East now a smaller convention, keep it under 2,000 people. But Dice Tower West, they are open to however many people, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 people, if they can grow it that big. So it's kind of interesting now that Dice Tower, the only Dice Tower, used to be here in Orlando on the East Coast, but now that they've got one on the East and the West, he's taken a different approach for the two different cons. So interesting.
I think the East he runs. I think the West somebody else runs.
Yeah,
so
Tim
if I'm doing the work, we're gonna keep it nice and tight, nice and small, keep it easy. But Rob, if you're gonna do all the work, blow it up, bro. Make it as big as you want.
Make it big.
Tim from, is it like Meepleville?
It's Tim,
Tim McVillier or something like that. I'm
Yeah.
butchering the last name, but he runs. Ron
He
Fraser
maintains
runs
that library.
Yeah.
They got their own separate library out there.
Yep.
So
And that library is supposedly, it's not as like curated as Tom's, but it's supposedly bigger. Like there's more games in it than Tom's. So
Yep.
Cool. Yeah.
Phone line's open again, folks. Just to remind you, 813-618-7099. Call in. Tell us what you have been up to. We want to hear from you about what you've been playing, what you've been doing. Otherwise, we'll just kind of keep chit-chatting here for the next 20, 30 minutes.
I think the one con that we haven't talked about that I've always wanted to go to, but actually in the last few years, I kind of like, man, maybe I don't need to go, is Essen, you know?
Oh,
as I've learned more about what the Essen Fair is, I'm less likely to go because there's not a lot of gaming. You know, it's a shopping trip. You know, and you might
shopping and I would say demos. There's a lot of demos.
A lot of demos,
just open gaming. But yeah,
and what's crazy is like, you know, the demos here at like Gen Con or Dragon Con or big cons here, you might play a couple of turns, right? You play a couple of turns and move on, right? But what I've been told is at Essen, they play the whole game. Like their demo is I'm gaming the whole. So like you got to run to get to the demo table because if you don't get there, you got to wait an hour or 2 hours, come back for a table. So yeah, I used Essen. You know, back in the day was like, oh, you got to go to Essen. That's like the biggest board game, you know, fair in the world. But the more I learn about it, the more I see about it, I'm like, it doesn't seem like it's a completely different sort of animal than the American cons.
I want to do it mostly because it's overseas. I think, I'd like to just go being an American, just go over to Europe, and gives me an excuse to go over, do a little touristy stuff, and go to a con over there. But yeah.
Michael end up at the raves.
With the what?
At the raves at some hostel somewhere.
All night.
Oh yeah, there you go.
My philosophy is they let me in the country one time, I'm not leaving. I don't know if they'll let me back in. So I'm staying right here in the Americas.
Yeah. So yeah. No, I mean, then you have UK Games Expo, which is growing.
That's another one. Yeah, that's another one I've put on my radar now. Yeah, that's another reason to get overseas.
But don't forget your turn con right here. Cypress Hills, Florida.
I'll be up just a couple weeks.
Super friends of the show.
Looking forward to it.
As far as my life is like, I'm doomed to never be able to go to something permanent. Like for as much, like have my ticket to your turn con. I'll be there Friday, but on Saturday I won't be there till almost noon because of course my son's first soccer match of the season is that Saturday. No, really?
Well, you'll be there in time for the Baseball Highlights 2045 tournament. But not in time for the Memoir 44 Epic game, which I'll be hosting at your turn con.
You're doing it early.
I want to do a second one on Sunday. So my goal is to have a second one on Sunday. So I'll save a seat for you then.
I'm going to be there Friday, the whole time Friday. Saturday, I'll be there no later than noon and then till whenever. And then I'll be back Sunday. So I just have to miss Saturday morning because you can't. I mean, it's the kid's first soccer match. You can't miss that, right?
Yeah. Do the parent thing.
If it was the second one, I'd be like, you're on your own.
Your turn con, they're doing all kinds of good stuff. Tournaments, they're giving tons of stuff away. Dan keeps posting
the
pictures.
Raffle prizes I saw. When I was there Saturday, Dan was showing me like the freaking shelf of games. It was like crazy. And it wasn't even all the stuff that he was supposed to be getting.
Yeah, he told me
he's got
stuff,
the guy that
did
the double six dice. He's going to be donating. I think he's actually going to be there.
Yep.
If I'm right. But he's going to be giving stuff away. And
they've got several crafters and people doing different things, selling different wares and stuff there. So, yeah, it's really going to be quite a collection of the Tampa area, Wesley Chapel, Zephyr Hills gaming community. So, yeah, it's going to be good times. Looks like Carlos is going to screen a call here, so he's got the phone ringing. That's a good thing. That's what we want to hear. Keep that phone ringing.
Rich, I think the idea is to do some filming at Dice Tower Con, at Your Turn Con, but I think Carlos will have to answer that. But yeah, I think so.
I know he's going to be running the game. So, but I'm sure he'll have his cameras there, and so we are going to be doing. The plan is still we haven't set all the details up yet to be doing some live streaming from there. We're going to have a table set up and a couple microphones, some headsets, and we're planning to do some live chatting, talk about games that we're playing, talk about stuff that's going on. So that'll be a thing for sure.
Nice.
Oh, we got him queued up.
Yeah, speaking about Wesley Chapel, Your Turn Con, one of the locals for that Your Turn area, our man, Jim Odak. Say hello, Jim.
How's it going, gentlemen?
Good. How are you, Jim?
Going good.
Good. So, my first question, so Dice Tower East is a small conference?
It's smaller. I mean, it's like I said,
2,000?
Yeah, it was under 2,000 this last year. It was like 1,800 or something. So it had gone up to 23 or 2,400, I think, at one point. But I overheard Tom talking to somebody and said that he plans to keep it under 2,000 now.
That's probably the biggest one I've ever been to.
Okay. Well, that's still a big con. I mean, that's not a little con for sure. So I mean, 2,000-3,000 people is still that's quite a few people. So if you can't find a friend to game with 2,000 or 3,000 people, you've got issues. So
Yeah.
Jim's like,
I enjoyed
yeah,
it.
that's
That was
me. Thanks, Rob.
I was sitting in the corner, couldn't play a game.
But
That was the
Jim,
first
you've
time I've
done
been to,
one in
kind
South
of on my
Carolina.
own.
What was that one you did in South Carolina?
CatcherCon.
Well, my first one was Whose Turn, which always gets me confused with Your Turn.
Who's?
Whose turn? Whose turn is it?
There's a Whose Turn one in the Raleigh area. That was the first one I went to. That was probably the size of like the Escape Winner.
Okay, so smaller than Dice Tower.
But yeah. Next weekend, I'm going to a really small con called SpielCon, which is one of the founders of the Tampa Gaming Guild rented a 12-bedroom house in Orlando.
Nice.
So that's why I won't be at the Wesley Chapel Gaming Day, because I'll be there doing that.
Okay.
And then when
That's
you guys
Jim,
go
you-
that, are you planning on like what games you're bringing? Like, are you guys talking about that? How are you handling the game side of that?
Yeah, he's got a Discord channel. We've pinned a game list. I think it might be a little out of place. I'm the only heavy gamer,
Oh, really?
but we'll see.
Okay.
Are you going to be playing
Ticket to Ride?
Codenames the whole time?
Yeah, Codenames,
or-
Ticket to Ride.
He got roped into the wrong con. They're like, oh, we're playing Twister all night,
Oh no.
followed by some Uno.
Sorry.
Although someone's bringing Mosaic, I haven't played that yet, so I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, that's supposed to be good. Little
Yeah,
Civ builder, yeah.
I think Shaw had that. Mihir had it at Escape WinterCon right behind us. Jim, remember he was teaching it?
Yeah. Well, I was going to mention is Escape Winter was probably the first con that was like completely on my own, like for the first couple of days, because none of you guys were there yet. And I actually hooked up with Mihir and played a bunch of games with him, but.
Yeah, so with all your gaming con gaming experience that you've been going, like I don't know, you seem like you're on a mission. You're checking off some punch card or something to try to get a free taco somewhere of all the cons you're going to. Ron brought up some good questions and concerns about showing up at a con alone, right, and having to kind of find a way to do stuff. How have you've been going on your own to all these different ones? I haven't heard of you going with anybody else. How have you gotten over that I'm the lone man out experience?
Well, that's what I was going to bring up. So I went to that first Whose Turn, and it was my buddy who lives in Raleigh, and I played with him and his crew the whole time, and that was it. And then I went with him to Tantrum as well, but less of his friends there. And him and I played because, he's always in Raleigh, so we don't get to play together a lot anyway. But we found different people to play with. Dice Tower was kind of my first one on my own without my buddy, Pete. And but you guys were all there, and I knew a lot of the guys from Tampa Gaming Guild was there, so I got around though, and I think I mentioned this on other calls, but my biggest moment I think was discovering that game of the Great Wall. Just randomly walked up to a guy who just happened to bring it in, was literally unwrapping it. I mean, that was to me the most awesome part of that con. Escape Winter, I ended up playing a lot of games from here, and he brought out the Tiny Epic Westerns that I've absolutely loved. So, I mean, I think if you don't get out and explore, you don't find those, because that didn't happen the other two cons where I stayed with my buddy and only played with him and his friends.
Yeah, so just different experiences kind of opened your eyes to some different things, maybe some different styles of gaming that you might not normally play, just by jumping in with some strangers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think if you can distance yourself from your regulars, you could learn things, I guess, or discover things. The other thing you guys are talking about the weights of games. I never noticed on VGA that they have weights, and I've always said that Lisboa is the hardest game I've ever played, and that's a 4.58.
Jeez.
Yeah,
There's
that's up
Bo's
there.
up there. Yeah.
It's known for being one of the biggest. It's no high frontier, but it's a heavy one.
Now, the thing is, like with BGA, with Board Game Geek, there's always a little bit of a skew because really it's the hardcore gamers are in there, so things either skew a little lighter than they really are, or a little heavy. It's a decent frame of reference. But,
yeah. I would put a ton of
But
weight.
yeah, you guys
on
are.
that.
For the games you guys are complaining about, we're only like 3 something. That's nothing, guys. Come on.
Listen,
yeah.
Bobby,
Well, that's what it is. Like when you think about it, it's a 1 to 5 scale, so a 2.5 is the mid range, right? But like most of us or most gamers would be like, oh, that's a light game. No, it's not a light game. Light game would be under that, right? So that's always like that's where the skews from is the people who look at the weighting, they go, oh, 2.5, that's pretty light. No, that's not really that light. It's that's the midpoint, right? So yeah.
But that's the trap we fall in as we play more games. The more games we play, the more used to we are to mechanics and mechanisms of games. The more we say, "Oh, that's a simple game," and it's like, Carlos, you're talking about Clash of Cultures. How is that simple? Each of the mechanisms on their own is simple, but you mash them all together and you get a Jaws of the Lion 4.3, right? Is that what it said?
Or 3.8 or something. 3.8.
It was up there.
It was up there.
Mm.
But Liz
Uno was 1.11. You didn't catch the irony of that, did you?
No, I didn't. What did you say?
The game Uno, his weight is 1.11.
Time out, though. Are you just messing with me, Odak? Or is that really it?
Is it really on BGA?
Go on BGG. It's on BGG.
Somebody's rigged that on BGG.
Its weight is...
I think the meta is strong on that. Everyone has chosen to rate it.
Exactly 1.11.
That's going to cause somebody to go down a rabbit hole of finding games that weighting is wrong but set to be kind of like Easter egg.
No, he's not kidding. It is 1.11. Let me share my screen. That is no joke. I count on Odak to find this information out. He didn't even know there was a weighting scale on there.
1.11 out of 5.
Yeah,
there it is.
You guys started talking about it. I started searching and stuff up. I'm like, oh, cool.
Go look at your top 10 and tell me what your average weight is on the forums when you get in chance.
Oh, I think of all my favorite games, the lowest is like 3.5.
Interesting.
You're one of those.
But you guys know me. I'm a heavy gamer. Right?
Yeah, the bigger the better, right? The bigger.
If it doesn't take an hour and a half, I'm not that into it.
Yeah.
Or more.
Yeah. We know that about you. Yeah. No, I'm there with you for the most part.
Played,
mixing, but go ahead.
We played Whistle Mountain at U-Turn last week when you guys weren't there.
All the pictures.
I played it before. I taught it to
Yeah, how did you like that
Pat
game, Jim? I saw you guys playing it.
I pulled it out. I played it a few months ago at Tampa Gaming Guild, and I looked at it. I was like, oh, man, I'm not going to like this. And we started playing it. I absolutely loved it. It's a great game. So, yeah, I pulled it out just because I thought it would be interesting to teach other people. It's got a lot of cool mechanics.
Yeah, Carlos and I have talked about this because we played Whistle Stop, and we thought this was something similar, and so we liked Whistle Stop. We're like, okay, Whistle Mountain, that'll be the next one in the series we got to play, but totally different game from what I've seen and what I've heard. I mean, nothing similar between the two at all.
Looks like
I don't get it. I don't know. What do you think, Wayne? I don't. Nothing about it looks attractive to me. What am I missing?
It's worker airship placement. It's tile building.
Is it sort of like a polyomino where you're got to cover the landmass before you move the...
You're building out the scaffolding because the river is flooding or the lake or the dam is flooding, whatever it is, and then you're building machines on top of that. Yeah, I'm sorry. And then at some point, it starts flooding up, and your workers, if they're not moved out, start getting swept up into the whirlpool and stuff.
Like none of the theme, and I guess Jodak, you may not care about the theme, or Jim, also known as Jodak on the BGAs.
Jodak is fine.
But like none of this theme draws me in at all. Building a scaffolding to build a something, and then there's zeppelins, and
But
then
it's got
there's
mechanisms.
Well,
Does
I like
it
all
have
that.
cubes though? That's what Rob
Oh,
needs
that's
to know.
that. Well,
Does
it's
it
got
have
little wooden
cubes?
bits. So I mean, they gussied them up a little bit instead of just cubes. They made little airships and all that good stuff. So I can deal with that. I can live with that.
You can live with that.
Yeah. No, it looks like fun. I want to try it. That whole mechanic with the scaffolding and that water rising. That's one of the big catches on this. That's one of the big things that draws people's eye to the game and like, oh, hey, that looks pretty cool. So I want to do that. I want to play it just to see how it plays. But yeah, I found people have difficulty explaining it. It seems like when I heard people try to give the little 2-minute pitch on it, it's like, well, it's a mix of a bunch of different things. So. But sometimes that turns out good, sometimes it doesn't. But this is one that's it's getting a lot of play. I've seen it on the internet a lot lately for some reason because it's been out a little while. But all of a sudden, I've been seeing videos of people playing it.
Yeah,
like those airships have different sizes. They give you different resources. You know, the bigger one will be next to more resources to gather them. So there's a lot of intricate aspects, which that's what gets me going. Like a lot of different things to keep my mind occupied.
Okay. Well, we want to keep your mind occupied. I hate to see where it goes otherwise. But.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm willing to teach anytime it comes up. Just hit me up.
And Rich says only a 2.97 on the weight. What's next? Candyland?
I know. I'm disappointed.
It's a fast spiral down.
That one's not weighted properly. We need to review that one.
Oh, okay.
You think it's a little heavier than a 2.9?
Well, it's not like Ankh or Great Western Trail that's up there. It's probably somewhere below those, but I think it should be above 3.
A tryout Whistle Stop.
My professional opinion.
I enjoyed Whistle Stop. It looks light, but it's deeper than it is with the stock.
Yeah.
The actions, trying to get your train moving in the right direction in order to take the resource cubes that Rob loves that you need. You know, trying to build that. I feel almost like a chain, almost like Maglev, where you're trying to build that route to get the things you need. I feel like Whistle Stop doesn't get enough love.
It was fun. Yeah, I liked it a lot. We played a couple times. Yeah.
Yeah,
I just don't know why it's connected to this game. Like, couldn't we have called this game something different?
Are they connected?
They both came out
Is
around
it connected, or is it just?
time, I think.
Yeah,
and that's where the confusion kind of I think originated from.
But they got the same font. It's all Bezier, so it's same. I don't know if I pronounced that right. Same kind of like aesthetic look to it. So it feels like they wanted the connection, but there's a train. Maybe that's their connection. I don't see it.
Transportation. I don't know.
They both
Are they connected, or is it just coincidence? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's coincidence. I mean, go look at the pictures of Whistle Stop. You're going to see it's very similar in style, aesthetic, artwork. Let me find it.
It's the same designer too, though. Scott Caputo.
Oh, is it still the same designer?
Yeah, same designer.
I just feel like they should have separated these two. You got the whistle on the front.
Interesting. Yeah, both Bezier games, both primarily designed by Scott Caputo.
But I just don't see the thread that goes between the two.
They came out at near the same time. No, they're like 3 years apart.
3 years apart.
They were a couple years apart. Yeah, 2 or 3 years. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Huh.
Looks just like
I
it.
thought there was supposed to be a third one. To be honest, I thought this was a Whistle series, and I thought it was going to be 3. And so again, yeah, I was surprised too when this one came out, or when the other one came out, when Whistle Mountain came out, that it wasn't more similar. I was expecting to have some heavy ties between the 3, and no, I mean they are very different games. It looks like,
and very different. I feel settings. Maybe not. I don't know about theme, but I'll say settings. So the other one has airships. Feels very fantasy-ish, whereas Whistle Stop is, it's very real world-ish.
Yeah, agreed.
English is not my first language.
I'll help you. It's okay.
I got to play Whistle Stop again. I liked it. I really did like it.
I think I played it once and I liked it. Just never got it again. Table again. So that'd be good.
Yeah, Carlos owns it. We'll play it sometime. All right, Jim. What else you got going on? Anything else?
It's a question I was just thinking about. Is it your turn? Is that like 3 nonstop days, or are they like sleeping at all?
No, they're
It
still
is.
sleeping. It's nonstop.
It's going to be
Till
all
like
day.
like
It is
midnight.
nonstop.
Saturday, all day Sunday, and then it starts Friday at like 6 o'clock, I think. So it's not going to be all day Friday. It starts Friday early evening.
5 or 6 or something like that, and then goes to like
Yeah.
midnight or so. Yeah, the whole
And after-
schedule is on the website. It's pretty well laid out.
I'll
So
have to look. I haven't looked in a while. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is around the clock gaming
Oh, yeah.
from Friday early evening through Sunday. So
Well, not
I'll
around.
be there as much as I can manage.
I'm bringing my sleeping bag.
yeah, just pitch it.
Don't give them ideas.
Well, I know you and Rob will be bringing just one sleeping bag. You guys will be sleeping.
Oh
in
yeah,
the
we'll
same one.
share. We share everything. Yeah.
Spoon each other.
Well, no, I mean, if you go in their clothes list, it's sharing body heat. It's
The body heat,
skin to
it's-
skin.
Yeah. It starts getting
That's
cold.
usually only
Feel
for
Florida, it's
Florida.
not going to be that cold.
We've hit the after 10 o'clock after dark hour now.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, it's a whole
We've gone
other
after
change
dark.
here. Well, speaking of cold, I got to just mention this. So I'm actually flying up tomorrow. Actually, Dan and I are flying up to St. Louis for the Stonemeyer Design Day. Going to meet Jamie Stegmeyer up there and meet some new game designers, play some games. Hopefully, take a lot of pictures, bring back some good stories about that. But that's going to be this Sunday. But I just was checking out the weather in St. Louis. A friend of mine from St. Louis was I was talking to them last night, and they were like, "You better check the weather just to see." Monday night to Tuesday morning, the low is supposed to be 28 degrees. So,
Oh no!
yeah,
Nice.
that's gonna be a little chilly. Yeah,
How do
that's
people
good weather.
survive?
I know? Tell me about it. That's just craziness. But
We were walking around the whole time last time we were there. I
Yeah.
would not be out there.
Yeah, it's gonna be a different experience this year. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, really looking forward to that.
Be a little cold snap.
Yep.
Cool, man. So you're gonna have a lot to talk about on the podcast next week, and the
I'm hoping so.
and next Thursday. That's cool. And
Yep,
you
absolutely.
you can feel free to sneak a couple of copies of Wingspan Asia.
Oh yeah, okay. I'll see whatever he's
Bring that
willing
bird
to part
box
with.
back home.
Yeah, I'm going to accept our award, I guess, for the for winning the contest. I don't know, Carlos, if you want to talk about that at all. But should we let Jim
Yeah.
go first? Jim, I don't know if you had anything else, but if not, yeah, we appreciate you calling in as always, helping carry the show, and we'll free that phone line up just to see if anybody wants to call in here before we wrap up the show tonight. But appreciate you.
Yeah, I don't want to hog it up so Nick doesn't get a chance to call.
Yeah, he said he wasn't going to call tonight. I saw him in the chat. He said he wasn't going to be able to call in, but. We appreciate you being a regular contributor to the show, Jim, and don't be a stranger. We'll talk to you soon.
Take it easy.
Have a good evening, Jay.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Speaking of the Beans and Dice podcast, speaking of Stonemeyer Games, with your help, y'all, all of you at home, Beans and Dice, out of the 10 contributors that Stonemeyer Games brought into their charity auction, we had the most likes. That blew my mind. Like, flat out blew my mind. Because we have, 530 subscribers on YouTube, a couple hundred on Facebook. And they were content creators in that charity auction with 8,000, 9,000 followers, 6,000 followers. I think we were second smallest. There was only one smaller than us in that list of content creators, but somehow we still got the most likes. I know. That's crazy.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Yep.
Oh, I turned into a cat.
Yes, you did. That's all right. A talking cat. That's funny.
I think
So-
that, like I said, points to the community, right?
Absolutely.
Yes. That's all it points to. I didn't do it. I only had one like I can give on it.
Yep, me too. Yep. So I'll be meeting Jamie Stegmeyer up there. So I'm assuming he'll instead of shipping that box to you, it was the expansion for Wingspan, right? That was the prize for the most likes. Yep. So I'll go up there and accept that for us. And if it doesn't make it back to your place, Carlos, don't worry. Don't ask about it. It's all right.
No, just tell them to ship it to my house. Ship it right to my house.
No, I'll bring it home on the plane. I got it. I got this. I'm good.
Jamie copied myself and the winning auction bid under our podcast, Nick Oben. Nick Oben ended up putting in the highest bid under our content creator podcast, and he ended up winning. So Stegmeyer CC'd us in his email that he received from Metropolitan Ministries, showing the entire donation in the amount of $2,639
Nice.
to Metropolitan Ministries here in Tampa, Florida, who help families who are in need of places to stay and food, a place that directly impacted my life. So, I mean, that mad props to all of y'all at home for making that happen. I'm mind blown.
Yeah, that's really, really cool.
Yeah.
And then Wingspan, the new one, that looks really cool.
Yeah, you
I
can
haven't
play.
seen it yet. There you go.
Yeah, so Wingspan Asia, it brings the game. You can play up to 6. With
You can take the base game up to 6.
Base game up to 6, and you can play Wingspan Asia or with other things. It also makes it a cooperative or a 2-player game. You can do a Wingspan duet kind of thing.
I saw that. Yep.
Yeah, so it looks really cool. I am so looking for that big box.
That was a big surprise for me.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to being a standalone and an expansion.
Yep.
Yeah.
That I was not expecting that either, Mike. Like that was a little stunner. The idea that they did that 3-way thing to it. It could be on its own as a 2-player game using those cards, or add it to the base set like you have now. Play your 2 to 4 players like you normally do on a regular day, or use it to make it 5 to 6 players for the base game. Like,
yeah,
ding 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 ding. Like he's just making it worth it.
Yeah.
And that big box is just stunning.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought the wine
all over
crate,
that bird box.
I thought the wine crate looked good, but man, that bird box is sweet.
Yeah, the art and everything on that looks real nice. Yeah.
So,
But talk about him putting his money where his mouth is. He's not producing the box separately at all, right? If you're going to buy the box, you have to get it with the expansion built in, and the expansion with the box does not include the expansion box itself. So he's really being conscious about waste.
Yep.
Right. So you want the bird box and the expansion, you're going to get it inside of the bird box without the extra box.
Yeah. Now he's doing a lot more with some sustainability in the games just to make them more environmentally friendly over time, which is great. You know, hey, any little thing we can do, it helps, right? So.
Yeah, and then I'm going to throw all the cards in a bunch of plastic sleeves anyway. So
yeah,
I'll do my part. I'm kidding. It's actually one of the few games that I haven't sleeved.
Those linen cards, man, I want to feel them.
They're nice.
Awesome. Yeah.
But and just to throw a plug for ourselves, this Sunday our podcast drops, and we have the What You've Been Playing and Dice Advice on Clank, and then we do, Jamie did a week or so ago 15 questions about your gaming life type thing, and he copied it from another channel. I forget what channel it's from, but so Rob Mitchell and I did that this weekend, so that drops on the podcast Sunday. So
yeah, check that out.
Subscribe. Yeah. So
thank you for reminding me. I need to upload that.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Note to self.
Get that ready for a Sunday upload. Yeah.
Yeah, but I like this little duet board here kind of thing, and then I like that. I'm interested in the concept to bring it to 6 players because they made an attempt to not stretch the game out by having it's two people are going at the same time. There's like a new mechanism in there.
Oh, Rob's gonna flip. He's gonna poop his pants.
No. That was simultaneous.
Yeah,
I'm gonna watch what you do. You're gonna wait.
There's gonna be 2 different food trays or 2 different trays of cards that you're pulling from. So it's like almost like a group of 3 and a group of 4 are playing at the same time. So it'd be I don't quite. I need to read the rules to see how it works, but I'm interested to see because I think that's an attempt to not make the game go longer than the 4-player game by having players kind of go simultaneously. So maybe it's all 6 and you're taking turns going around and you're moving to different card drawer piles. But that'll be interesting when I read and digest sort of the rules for the 6-player game, because I think that's an interesting concept of, instead of just adding 2 more players and then you add playtime because everyone's still taking their normal turns, but having it maybe, taking turns at two players are going at the same time every time is kind of interesting.
Until you mentioned that, Wayne, I was on the mindset of I will never add this as a 6-player game because I just assumed that was going to be it. You just add more players, add more time. But if they add a mechanism almost like a scythe, you take your top action while I'm taking my bottom action type of a system, like that, which Rob hates, I'm in.
Oh, and Diego might be right. It might be up to 7 because it isn't the base game to 5 or...
Base game.
it is.
Yeah,
Base
base
game
game
is
is to 5.
Five. So it is to 7 now. So it goes up to 7. So
Okay.
you could add 6 or 7.
I think I'm really interested in this area control board. This review by Dicebreakers, so dicebreaker.com, they did a review on it, and I watched another review on it where it talks about how this area control board really picks up the pace of the game, where you're racing to get control of stuff, so it feels like there's more tension, which to me is one of the things that I like about Wingspan. But at a 2-player game of Wingspan, it seems too lax. Like there's, there really isn't any tension at all. It's almost like solitaire. But here, this 2-player area control board has got me very interested.
Yep, very cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the rulebook is available. I just haven't had haven't had a chance to download and read it, but it looks pretty interesting. So yeah, I'm definitely down for that. And then Getty Rich just made us.
Yeah, I was gonna say we got to mention that. Yeah.
If you're listening, you have until Monday 8 p.m. to join our Welcome to tournament on BGA. We've already got 24 people, so it's a go. Be great to get another 6, at least to get to 30. That'd be awesome. So the more the merrier. If you got friends, let's get them on.
You just got to be part of the Beans and Dice Discord
Dice group. Yep.
Yep.
And just join away. Yep. We can get you in the group on BGA too.
Yeah, you can find the Discord linked in our Facebook group. So if you're part of our Facebook group, you can find the link that gets you into the Discord there. And then in our channels, we have a channel for online games. And here in the online games, you'll find the tournaments, including the setup for the Welcome to tournament right here under the BGA tournament.
Welcome to. There it is. Yep. So it's got its own little tab there. And if you have any questions about how to get in, just go in there, ask a question. We'll make sure we get you approved and signed up to get into that on the Board Game Arena. So you'll just need a Board Game Arena account if you don't already have one. You can set that up for free, which I've been taking advantage of for months. So anyway, so you can get in for free. And as long as if you have the free, as long as other people start games, you can get invited in to pretty much anything that's available on there. But we'll make sure we get you in. Normally, tournaments have certain requirements for points, with ELO points that you have to hit a certain level to get in the tournament. But we can, since we've set this tournament up, we can get you in no matter what. So as long as you know how to play the game, and even if you don't know how to play the game, I know that we've set up a few trial games for people that were new already in the last couple of weeks, just to teach people the game. So come on in, jump in. Water's fine.
Yeah, I would say if you join the Discord server and you have any issues, you can at Getty19 about the tournament or at Mortex, MORTX, that's me, and I get you in the BGA, the BGA group, and get you sorted out. So happy to help. All
right, we're at the end of our show. Let's go through final news bits. I know, Wayne, you mentioned the podcast. I wrote that down. I'm going to upload it. Dropping this Sunday. What's our topics again?
What we've been playing. So the recent games played. I don't remember all 3, so I'll let you discover that on your own.
Yeah, don't give them all the nuggets. Yeah.
Thanks, Rodney.
Dice advice on Clank, and then we did the 15 questions about your gaming life and history. Like, how did you get into gaming? What games you like? Those kind of. What's your favorite color? Why? Those kind of things. So it's kind of fun. I hope you guys enjoy it.
Rob, any news for the folks at home?
No, like I said, just getting ready for that trip to St. Louis. I'm looking forward to that again. First time I'd been to St. Louis in lots and lots of years was last year. Had a great time on that trip. Dan's going to go. He's never been to St. Louis, so I'm going to show him around just a little bit from what I know. But yeah, we're staying at a bed and breakfast. Going to be up there for 4 days, and so looking forward to that. We're going to play lots and lots of Arkham, the card game. We've been away from that for about 3 or 4 weeks now, so we're both dying to get into that. So Dan's going to bring that, and we're going to play lots of hours of that. So I'll report back on how all that goes. But yeah, I'm hoping to bring back lots of pictures, maybe a little video and stuff of the demo days up there. Not demo days, the design days up there, and nice. Hopefully I'll come back with some good stories.
Michael, any updates for the folks at home? Any sales? Anything they can find that you're getting rid of?
Yeah, actually, a quick update. I actually found out who the mystery gamer was that used to
I
live
was
in
going to ask about that. I was waiting for you to bring that up.
Yeah. So anyway, our lease ran. We let our lease expire, and we moved into a home. So we were moving out of the apartments, and probably like a month or two before, probably about a month after, before our lease ran out. I was talking with like one of the neighbors downstairs outside, And the person who I thought it was, her son, who's like I think he's in college, just started college. Anyway, he was walking up and he knew the other guy that I was talking to, and we're all kind of talking together. And I was like, what is your mom's name? And
that's awkward, bro.
I know. I'm trying to make it as least awkward as possible. So I was like, I said, is your mom's name Elizabeth? And he said, yeah. I was like, is she like a board gamer? And he like rolls his eyes, and he's like,
oh God, yeah.
Yeah, she's a board gamer. I was like, she's the one, So
bingo.
So now I know who she is. And my wife and I were like packing stuff to bring over to the home, because we were like kind of overlapping a few weeks, so we could take our time bringing our stuff over. And I saw her outside talking with somebody, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, here's my chance. I'm just going to go up and say, I don't know if your son told you, blah, blah, blah. So I walk up, I was like, excuse me. I was like, is your name Elizabeth? And she's like, are you Michael?
Sprays you with pepper spray.
Get away, get away. Stranger danger.
Yeah. So she's like, you were talking to my son, you're a board gamer, right? And like, I felt bad because she was talking with another woman there, and, they're kind of like in conversation. And I was like, I don't mean to cut into your conversation. I said, I live at blah, blah, blah. And her and I, it was like, how it is when you're talking with another gamer. It's like, how we guys are,
just like push the other person
away. It was like this, this mind meld, we start talking. Oh, have you played this? Oh, what kind of mechanics do you like? Blah, blah, blah. And the other woman was like, kind of like, kind of looking around, and I was like, I'm so sorry. I was like, I'm going to let you guys get back to your conversation. And then like Elizabeth pulled me back into another gaming conversation. Well, anyway, really nice woman. She's single mom with her son there. And she's like, I'm getting Kickstarters in. And, I was like, obviously, because I saw the same box, I was kind of told her the story. But anyway, so I found out who it was, and I have her number now, and eventually we're going to get together, because she said she used to have like a gaming group, but they kind of like, either they didn't like gaming as much as she did, and they kind of like, went their own ways or whatever. But the funny thing is the last day she actually, she's like, oh, have you played Azul Queen's Garden? And I was like, no, I haven't played that one yet. She's like, oh, I just got it. I'll let you borrow it if you want to learn how to play it. I was like, oh, all right.
Oh, we just met.
Day.
Like,
yeah, I know.
Yeah. You're like, can we re-sign the lease?
This is. Yeah, she knew I was moving out, but it was like, oh man, this is really cool, So she let me borrow it. But anyway, it was like coming up to the last few days before our lease 100% ran out, so we were grabbing the last few things out of the apartment, and I brought the game back to her. And she's like, oh, did you get, what was the name of the game? Oh my God.
Syllables. Sounds like.
Sounds like, it was, what's the one with all the little animals with the tree?
Everdell.
It's like Everdell.
The
She's
Everdell
like,
Big
did
Box.
you get? Yeah, she did. She said, did you get the Everdell Big Box in yet? I said, no, I haven't even, gotten shipping notice for it. And she's like, hold on a second. And she like pulls it out of her apartment and starts like opening it up. Like
in the middle of the hallway.
Awesome.
God,
I was just like,
we're passionate about our games. When you're like in the middle of the hallway, unboxing a game with someone you like never met.
Yeah. So it was just really cool, but, then I came down here, but just the fact that found out who it was, and she's a really cool person. And, so it was the mystery is solved without me being a creeper.
Just a little bit of creepy.
Except for that one moment. There's like
There's
a 5-second moment with the son where he's like, where's this guy going with this? He's asking about my single mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you said you mentioned you're moving into a home. So you're not having to pare down the collection as much as before?
You saw the pictures, right?
I started to see some pictures about buying shelves, and I didn't connect that you were moving into a bigger place.
Yeah, so we moved into a home that has a little bit bigger place, and when we were looking at it, what would be considered the master bedroom, because it has like the in-suite bathroom right there. One of the entire walls has a custom built-in bookshelf, like floor to ceiling.
Nice.
And I was like, oh, this is interesting, and my wife, Deneen, she was like, the more I think about it, you should just make that your office. I was like, really? Like,
wow.
And she said, yeah, we're never going to use those bookshelves for like our bedroom stuff. And if you have people over to game, I don't want them walking into our bedroom while you guys are trying to figure out what you're going to play. So I was like, man, I knew you were a keeper.
Yeah, you gotta keep that, bro.
Now you have an office game room with an attached bathroom.
Nice.
Exactly. I mean, it's like the best of both worlds, So
congrats, homie.
I did not have to pare down my collection, and I think I might have posted a picture saying, "Oh, now I've got room for my Kickstarters that come in." And then Oathsworn came in, and I was like, "I don't have so much room anymore."
Filled it up, yeah.
That came in, and then like all of Etherfields came in because I was a single wave shipper on that, and so like I'm already quickly running out of space. But very cool to have. Just to have that room. I was very
enough
happy.
room to set up the studio again. Maybe gets one mic, 3 games.
Yeah, I got things set up, and hopefully I can get back to doing that. Well, I mean, after I leave Florida, I'll probably have a little bit banked where I can take a little bit of time off and get back into doing.
Well, don't leave too soon, because my news topic is next week is Carlito birthday weekend. So for me, I'm planning on we got the show Thursday night. I think Friday I'm doing a live call-in show with the Florida Blood Bowl group. We're going to do a live call-in show specific to Florida Blood Bowl on their Facebook group, so not on the Beans and Dice or anything, because I know I'm not a lot of my Beans and Dicers are all about the Blood Bowl life.
No.
So I'm going to put that on their group, and then Saturday is official Carlito B-Day. So I'm hoping to get some games in at the house here, all day gaming, where my goal is to play games, get some recorded, and get some uploaded onto the channel of games, because we haven't done that in a little while. We haven't played games on video, so that's the plan. Maybe Saturday morning, spend some time with Wayne. Saturday afternoon, I think spend some time with Rob, and then Mike. Now that you're in town, of course you're invited to come out to the house all day Saturday. And I think we're going to do a stop at the Double Branch Brewery. Is that right, Robert? What do you call it?
Yep, over in Wesley Chapel. Yep, that's it. Double Branch.
Wesley Chapel game day is going on that same day, so wifey's going to take me to lunch for my birthday to have some liquid lunch over at the Double Branch Brewery. So that's my plan for next Saturday. So my hope is by Sunday I'll be able to get some games posted of games that we played Saturday, recorded Saturday here in the studio. Studio B for Bean. Right there, Studio B for Bean. Look at that. And then what I'll ask y'all is let me know if there's any one game that you want to see us play. So like Robert and I play, or Robert and Michael, whoever shows up, play that you want to see on video. Anything that you want us to play on video, let us know in the Facebook group or in the
yes.
Never mind. Keep your damn comments to yourself. I don't want to know. We are playing Circadian's Light.
Listen,
I still haven't played it.
I'm not going to be able to make it there until nighttime because I'm working 6 days a week out here. So if you can hold off on that until later in the night, I will be there to play that.
I will have dinner ready, so you come straight over. I'll make sure we have some kind of dinner, pizza or something, awesome. And gallons of water for you, and we will save Circadian's Light for Michael to come help host that, and I'll get the above camera up because we got cameras up and down and all around. We'll get them all set up, and then we'll get that one on video, Circadian's Light. So that's my news topic. And that's it. That gets us to the end of the show. I'll hopefully see y'all on the podcast releasing this Sunday. Robert getting us some videos. I told him he needs to get me video. Send me videos of him and Dan in St. Louis, just little updates of stuff they're playing. I'll stitch them together and post them up. And then next week, Thursday night call-in show, Friday night Blood Bowl call-in show. Saturday, we're going to stream some live. We're going to record some. And we'll post them on Sunday and then the Wesley Chapel game day. So that's what we got going on. Thanks, BJ, for the comments. Thanks, Rich, in the chat, and for all the work you do on the BGA and the Discord for hosting those tournaments. We want to thank all y'all for joining us on the show. I'm Carlos.
I'm Rob.
I'm Mike.
And I'm Wayne.
And we are the Beans and Dice Podcast, a podcast about How We Game. Join us next week on the podcast. Catch you
Thanks
then.
for watching, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks for watching the Beans and Dice podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe.